Okay, this one is for you, dear Capricorn. That's you. This is Tarot Lumination with your general report. It's like broad spiritual spectrum type of thing for June 2018. This is more or less Gemini season. So Capricorn, it's not any kind of direct hits on you. But I'm going to give you a few notes in the minute with some of the astro doodles and astro notes here today, like we've been doing with the other reports, simply because, you know, this is a tarot channel, but there's an awful lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes here. And also, this is a month where, even though, you know, the Gemini and Sagittarius, the Gemini energies are very, you know, fun and uplifting for a lot of us. Below the surface, let's just get straight to it. Okay, these are my personal notes that I just keep on hand as a reminder to get through the month. I'm just sharing them with you now. Highlights very early on in the month. Okay, basically at the first, we've got several days where it's very, very strongly emphasized. There's a beautiful Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio grand trine. It's very harmonious energy for everybody, especially the water signs. Now, a little bit later, we have a big Cancer, Capricorn opposition, which turns that whole grand trine into a kite, which is also very supportive, and we can learn a lot from that, especially in the context of our most significant relationships. So it's very, very supportive. But just so that you know, Capricorn, that's you. This is you here. It's not heavy duty. It is a Venus opposition as far as I recall, but it is still an opposition nonetheless. So you might become aware of it. And that might affect your relationships and how you view things. Later on through the month, these are some calendar moments that I picked out. Okay, 6th, 10th, 14th, 15th, 19th. And a real cluster around the end of the month, 23 up to 29 to 30 and so on. The thing is that it's not directly on you, so in a way you're kind of lucky, Capricorn, but there's some very hard angles going on between Aquarius and Leo and Taurus in the middle, and later on between Aquarius, Leo, and Scorpio in the middle. Where is that one? It's right at the end of the month. Yeah, it's right over here towards the end of the month. So those are very, very challenging, what are called squares, including a grand square at that point. So you might want to mark your calendar, because these are going to be choppy days for everybody. Everywhere that you see the red highlights, definitely potentially very, very choppy days for all of us, no matter what sign you are, okay? So I'll just slide that through for you. Okay, a little bit more there and a little bit more there. And the thing is, for you, Capricorn, things change really right at the end of the month. Around from the 19th onwards, basically. We still have the big fat water trine here, but the sun and several other planets are starting to move through Cancer. So you're going to be going into your period of opposition here, where it can be the most challenging period of the year for you regarding relationships, especially because you're getting that full-on 180-degree reflection back to you from significant others. It's not this angle, it's not this angle. It's a straight, flat mirror looking straight at you, and you're looking straight at them. So you see everything. You see the best of you, you see the worst of you. So basically, hang on to your hat through the month, dear Capricorn, and please allow that you're going to start to feel the full oppositions right towards the end of the month. Now, actually, I just want to mention this thing here with the Cancer Capricorn opposition. That's pretty much full on through the whole month. Okay, Venus is going through Cancer up to about here, and it's opposing all the Pluto and Saturn energies up in Capricorn, which are affecting you directly, of course, as well. So if you want to, if you're into that stuff, you can look at your playlist for relationships. Okay, there's a separate playlist just for relationships. Anyway, let's get on with it. I just added that in for fun, just as a sort of appetizer to get warmed up before we actually get into the reading. I know for the regulars who come here, you know, I repeat the beginning stuff a lot, but I kind of have to because we keep getting new people arriving, and I got to, you know, give them a leg up so that they can kind of, you know, get in the groove with the rest of us. Okay. No jumpers, no flyers, no oracles, no reversals here. Sorry, Tarot Illumination. It's hard enough to read just with the cards uprights, okay? They're very beautiful, and I don't like to mess with that. Also, please watch for your sun, moon, and rising. It can help, especially if they're all different. And then even if you really, really want to, you can do the cross-watching for the significant others in your life to get really broad perspectives, all right? Now, please invite your spirit guides, your angels, your team, because that's what we do here at Tarot Illumination. Let's make it a group effort, okay? All you lovely Capricorns out there, hang in. I know it's tough. Saturn is in Capricorn. Pluto is in Capricorn. You had a little bit of relief now. Mars has left Capricorn, but it's still, in some ways, heavy going for you Capricorns. And let's just admit it, okay? All right. Here we go. Bless this deck, bless these cards, bless this reading. This is you at the very core of you, the heart center of you. The heart knows what it needs, knows what it wants, and it's up to you, dear Capricorn, to listen. Listen very, very carefully. Love thyself. That's what the heart is saying all day, every day. Please feed me what I need. I'm doing everything I can to keep you alive. I pump all the nutrients wherever you need them. I take away all the wastes wherever you need to get rid of them. Please honor that. Love me, love me, love me. Love thyself. This is legacy energy. What are you bringing in with you here, Capricorn? Pretend you just walked into a meeting or something. What's in your briefcase? What's in your pockets? What's in your wallet? What's going on? Are you loaded up with grief and anxiety? Are you all bouncing off the walls? Are you steady as a rock? Are you on path? What's going on? Over here is the, this is it. This is our reality check here in the moment. This is the energy of now. This is our presence here and now. Luckily, for a lot of you Capricorns, you're very good at being very grounded, present, and conscious and here. However, even for you guys, it still can be tough because the better you get at things, the more challenges you attract. And you probably know that better than anyone, Capricorn. So here in the ever-present now is where you own your power. Nothing good or bad about that. It's just raw power. And the tendency, of course, is to lean on the past and project into the future, anything to avoid the present, because sometimes it can be very, very difficult to be present, to be in the now, because we have to deal with things exactly, absolutely as they are, not how they were, not how you want them to be, how you, whatever. This is the ever-present now. Let's have a look at that. And it is in the now where you can exercise your power through the healing power of your decisions. Consciously making hundreds, thousands of decisions a day, little decisions on autopilot, but certain decisions, that's the beauty of the phenomenon of decision as human beings. We can completely restructure and reformat and repair our lives through conscious decision making to love ourselves. We don't always have to live at the mercy of reflex behavior and outsource our happiness, our love, our evolution to anything and everyone out there. No, we as human beings, we can deliberately choose to contradict ourselves and contradict others in ways that baffle people, and then deliberately choose to love ourselves. And if other people can't handle it, that's their problem. Over here, how do you do that effectively? Because you're very, very effective, Capricorn. That's what you do. That's who you are. So this would be an important card for you. And let's say you get in the groove here, you understand this, what would this generate in terms of consequences? Now, if you're coming into this relatively blind and very curious, and you're living a life where you outsource a lot of your, let's say, consequences and existence to expectations, three-dimensional reality and conventions, you know, jobs, careers, childhood programming, trauma from abuse, whatever it is, and that just makes all of your life go into autopilot. And then this one energy here would feel more like fate. In other words, well, you know, life's just going to happen, and that's just what happened. You know, I was born, really rich. So this is what happened. I was born in a very difficult situation. So this is what happened. It's fate. Well, we have the right and the power to love ourselves, and we can move these elements around. What happens if you're having a really rough day? No matter how much you try and want to be grounded, present, conscious, and here, you're out of the loop and you're slipping by. You're really, really struggling and basically failing. What does that look like? Now, on the other hand, if you're in the zone and you're totally present and conscious and here, what does that look like? It's the same energy, but one is the inverse of the other. Over here, prospects and momentum. Okay, to the next beat. Here is your heart. Okay, here is the heart in its expansive energy permeating through your whole body. And here's the heart at the core center of you, pumping, pumping all day, every day, just for you. Over here is circumstantial energy. We have the world. Okay, so this card has been coming up quite a lot in private readings and so on, and some of the Sunday night shows and things, and even here. So to me, this is very much to do with the Uranus and Taurus ingress that just happened, and it's a big deal for all of us. We're still in the gateway period here as we're making the transition out of a 7-year journey of Uranus and Aries and into a new 7-year journey of Uranus and Taurus. It's the end of an era. It's the beginning of a new era. Everything is exactly as it should be. It cannot be any other way. No matter how much you might want to manipulate and manifest or make reality fit your way of being, these are forces that are way above and beyond us. Like, you can't just tell the tides of the ocean to please back off, you're having a rough day. It doesn't work that way. The planet Uranus is just doing what it does. It has no, agenda for you personally, but it does what it does, and we can often feel that here as radical shifts and upheavals, unexpected awakenings, shocking. And that's happening in Taurus right now. It's very complementary energy for you, Capricorn, but it's still a radical shift from where things were and to where things are going. So it's very important to understand a huge chapter in your life is now officially over, and you're moving into a new chapter, and everything is exactly as it should be. All the worst of it and all the best of it. Let's have a look at the heart. Okay, holding steady. I see this is good news, Capricorn. To me, this is very stabilizing. This indicates to me that right now your heart is looking for ways to create new foundations, new stability, new structures, new, let's say, new pillars that are going to hold everything up for the future. Now, at the same time, you might feel that your natural sense of stability and control and management, that is your nature, could be very shaken around right now. And your heart is crying out for stability, crying out for stabilization, trying to keep everything together, to hold the foundations together, as you might be feeling the foundations being seriously rattled around. I'm not going to get into personal, like, love relationship readings, but it just happens that Uranus and Taurus is a 7-year journey through your 5th house of true love and romance. Also creativity, business, self-expression, happiness, and fun. So the heart might be saying here, we need to seriously hold on to what works, what is proven, what is stable, and that will endure everything and anything, including Uranus and Taurus, and then go from there. Physical material reality is very, very important for Capricorns, and you're kind of the masters of that stuff anyway. So at managing all that stuff, Taurus energy is really like the builder, the actual manifester, but you're more like the manager. So your heart is, to me, it's saying, please, let's gather all our resources, put them all in one place, and let's get our acts together now and create new stability, new structures, new foundations for that will endure for the long term. Please, please, Capricorn person that owns me, listen very carefully. That's what we need, that we want. What are you bringing in with you? Okay, cataclysmic changes, catastrophic changes, cathartic changes that are irreversible. There's no, there's no way around this, whatever that might be in business, health, romance, creativity, education, career, jobs, whatever it is. You might be, whether you openly know it or not, or whether you openly admit it, Capricorns, you can be very, very controlled about how you manage your energy and the way other people see you and perceive you. Like, like successful business people, they don't typically splurge all their emotions all over the place. They're very, very contained. They maintain a lot of, let's say, integrity over the emotional currents of life in order to endure the emotional currents of life in ways that other people can't. You're very, very good at maintaining and creating stability in ways that other people can't handle. That's why typically, it's a long journey for you, but that's why people often dump all the heavy responsible stuff onto you because they can't handle it. And yet here you are coming into this reading. There's something that is completely foobar, effed up beyond repair in your world, whatever that might be. Certain parts might be collapsing. Right now, think of the huge weather conditions right now that are going on across the planet. Freaky, mind-boggling shifts in the way the Earth and the world is working. And I believe that is very much to do with the ingress of Uranus and Taurus. Simultaneously, Mars is in Aquarius right now in the early parts of the month, in a very, very hard combative square with Uranus. So can you imagine that energy? Mars in Aquarius, the freedom fighter, the liberator, the one who literally blows things up in order to liberate, like revolutions, revolutionary fighters. And at the same time, Uranus in Taurus, Uranus, the planet of liberation, revolution, and freedom. So can you imagine that happening simultaneously? This is literally like the tower in full expression: lightning, catastrophe, hurricanes, blitzes, anything and everything that just blows your world apart in that particular area, whatever that is. You personally would know that, Capricorn, but it doesn't have to be defined as a particular category right now in this reading. Okay, because this is a general reading for thousands of people, and there are 12 different rising signs, and 12 different moon signs, so we can't cover it all here. I'm just suggesting there's some part of your life which is undergoing cataclysmic collapse. But the beauty of the Tower is that it's one of the most powerful healing cards in the deck, because you've got to reveal it to heal it. And if you have been buried under mountains and mountains of rubble for a long time, or structures or hierarchies or conditions that were eventually going to crumble, then here you go. So in other words, you could almost be grateful. Like, you know what? I'm a Capricorn. I can handle it. Might as well just bring it on. Might as well just lay it on me, people, whatever it is. Okay, so what about the ever-present now? Okay. All right. Well, actually, I'm really glad to see this. This is the Hanged Man here. And my feeling is that in your present moment, let's say you're the CEO of a corporation, Capricorn Incorporated, Capricorn, you, dear viewer, Incorporated. With this kind of power going on here, these kind of shifts, these kind of changes, let's just for a moment here blame everything on the planets. Let's blame it on Uranus and Taurus, Mars and Aquarius, the big fat oppositions with the planets in Capricorn and Cancer, and then later in the month, bigger oppositions between Cancer and Capricorn. Isn't that convenient? Isn't that so very convenient? And it kind of gives you the ability to say, you know what, it's okay. All of that stuff is above and beyond me anyway. I'm a Capricorn. I'm just as capable as anyone else of dealing with this stuff, but it is at the point where it is, just call it fate, fated. It's like monumental what's going on here. So the only way you can handle it is by deliberately saying, okay, I can't control this stuff. I admit it. I can't manage this stuff. I can't tell that earthquake to stop happening. I can't force that tsunami to stop. It's just going to happen. So I have to allow myself to be completely disembodied from the way I normally am and how I normally like to be. And I have to do this willingly. So I deliberately now officially choose to put myself in the position of being an observer of my own life, and doing this deliberately so that I can understand how to live in the present, how to live in the now, and how to handle these monstrous shifts and changes that are happening here. This is, to me, this is very big, heavy duty energy, and it's kind of epic. So to me, this is very healthy. It's like an executive decision, going to the board meeting and saying, you know what, everybody, things are under so much shift and change and pressure right now. I am making an executive decision as the CEO that we are going to just allow things to happen, and we're going to deal with it as we go along. There's no point in trying to control this stuff. Okay? Thank you very much. Okay, you're released. Lunch break. Catch you in the afternoon shift. Bye-bye. So how do you do this? Let's have a look. The healing power of your decisions. Okay. This is the Five of Swords. My feeling here is that what's going to happen as you allow yourself to, even though this could be a real blow to the ego, a blow to the esteem or the integrity of your life and the way of being that you're used to and the like and that you want things to be, as you go through this disembodied observation of the self by the self, where you put yourself in a spiritual quarantine or immunization, literally like an out-of-body experience, where you can calmly and spiritually observe your three-dimensional life and the radical shifts that are happening. You might be tempted to come back into three-dimensional form altogether at once and go to battle with this stuff, because you might be shocked by what you're observing from the spiritual perspective. There's 3D, and then there's 5D and 7D and all the other Ds put together. And you're over here in the present, you are deliberately staying out there in the 5D and 7D so that you can get the very broad spiritual perspective in order to handle this stuff. Now, the thing is, once you realize how shocking it is and how contrary it is to maybe what you think you might have wanted to happen or how your life should be, you could be easily drawn into a futile battle with yourself versus yourself, where you think, I've got to get in there. No, I can't handle this. I can't handle this. It's too much. I need to get in there. I need to manage this stuff. I need to fix this. I'm the boss. It's not acceptable. And all that happens is you make things worse. So it's very important to understand that you are very, very vulnerable to your own, let's say, knee-jerk self-defense reactions to come in there and try to do the Capricorn magic on things and to get things to work properly. Okay? It's almost like there's no point here, Capricorn. It's like the best thing you can do is literally let everything fall to pieces, observe what's actually happening, and allow the dust to settle so that you can put everything back together again, new components, new structures, new ways of being going forward, new values especially. Okay, so that it doesn't become a futile battle of lose-lose, you trying to fight you. It's pointless. So how are you going to do that? How are you going to stop yourself from going to a default setting, a knee-jerk reflex fight or flight type of behavior where you would want to automatically just dive in and save yourself from yourself? It's not going to happen. The whole idea is that everything is exploding and blowing up in order so that everything can be rebuilt. Okay, so how are we going to do this effectively? Okay, my feeling here with the Eight of Cups is understand that change is inevitable here. And some of the changes that are happening might be happening in your three-dimensional world. But the whole point now is to blow that whole thing up so that you can discover that there is a whole other perspective out there in the spiritual realm, the 5D and the 7D, right here in the now as you're living through this. And from that perspective, You can realize that, oh my God, some of my knee-jerk behavior would be futile, so there's no point in doing it. So how do you move forward? How do you make loving decisions that do nurture the heart for what is needed and wanted? Well, you would do that by understanding that you might have to walk away from a lot that you love, a lot that you have loved, a lot of where you have invested so much of yourself and your life and your love already, because the journey goes on. You know, the planets aren't going to stop just for you. The planets are going to go on anyway. Life is going to move on. Your life is going to continue, but it looks like it's going to be continuing in a way where you have to accept that there's whole new levels of learning and understanding that await you ahead. And at this moment, there's very little guidance about what that would be like except your intuition. So, sorry, this reading is going on very long. I'm sorry. I'm trying to get through it as quick as I can, okay? Consequently, let's have a look. Okay. My feeling here with the Knight of Pentacles is that you'll come to a realization that it's a futile battle. Trying to hold back the tides is a futile battle. It's better to just live with what's happening here. Remove yourself from the battlefront. Let's say accept a personal defeat in the three-dimensional realm and look at it as a victory in the spiritual realm. In other words, love is as love does. I have done something which other people might think is very self-destructive, perhaps self-sacrificing. But it turns into a spiritual growth, and that's love is as love does. Deliberately walking away from things that no longer work and bringing all your energy and values and talents into what works, whatever that is, as yet undefined. TBA, to be arranged. Let's have a look. What if you mess up? What if you get sucked in, you feel you have to fight all this? Okay, it looks like you end up becoming a loser. And you lose and lose and lose. You lose the chance to succeed. You lose the chance to be victorious and live through this. Now, Tarot Illumination magic, watch this. Super, super high-end magic. What happens when you get this right and you realize there's no point in fighting it? You win. You become a winner at the spiritual level, the 5D, the 7D, even though it might look as though the 3D world is collapsing, imploding around you. So it's highly contradictory, okay? In other words, what appears like catastrophic loss could actually translate ultimately into a win-win. Any attempt to fight it off turns into lose-lose. So where does this take us for the next beat of the heart? Healing. My feeling here is the whole thing that's happening for you is to literally blow up false idols, blow up anything and everything that you held dear that has been proven to have only temporal or only a certain amount of value and true value inside of you in order for a whole new levels of understanding and values to unfold. And so it's very, very peaceful. In other words, whatever seems to be going wrong is ultimately for your good, and it's ultimately for your healing. This is another indication of laying down the swords, putting down any kind of expectations, beliefs, and understandings that you would normally have fought for and defended and protected so well, just giving up. Removing yourself from the battlefront, giving yourself a chance to heal right now. It would be literally like going to your board members and saying, you know what? I, as the boss of Capricorn LLC, Incorporated, blah, 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 have decided that I need a sabbatical. I need a break. And I am going to appoint my wonderful team to help us guide through this period while I recuperate, and I'll be back right as rain once I've had some healing and recovery. I need to reconnect with my soul. I need to love myself first and foremost, love myself here, reintegrate, look at ways to build new structures, new foundations going forward. Okay? And that means I have to, in some ways, meditate on this. Thank you very much. It might be very hard for you to do this, Capricorn. In other words, it might look like there's so much at loss here, so much potential losses here, almost like catastrophic losses. But this little reading is an indication to me that this is ultimately for your good, ultimately for your victory, ultimately for your spiritual health and evolution and well-being, and very, very much about healing. Okay? Healing of the self, brought upon by very, very uh, pressured energies here. Okay, I'm not going to say anything more. You can check in with Tarot Illumination if you want to. If you want to get into this heavy duty type stuff, you can. I'm just going to leave this here and watch for your sun, moon, and rising. You can reinterpret this however you want. And thank you so, so much for visiting. And I hope to see you again. Okay, thank you very much. All the best. I hope I didn't hurt your feelings, touch any nerves, or scare the daylights out of you. I just feel it, all this stuff, like a little movie, and I tell the movie as the movie unfolds. Thank you very, very much. Bye bye, Capricorns.